My name is Brett Berkman. I grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. I never really experienced outright anti-Semitism, but I often was the only Jewish kid in my class and felt like an outsider. So as a teenager, I found refuge in a regional Jewish youth group where I thrived and became statewide vice president. I went to college thinking I would become a lawyer, but after spending summers working at camps, I knew my career would have to include working with children. So I decided to become a teacher and have never looked back. I have now been a public school teacher for more than a quarter of a century. I also teach at a local college where I train teachers to become literacy coaches. My work has been enormously gratifying, not only because I am helping children, but because I have been a part of a special professional community that has given me a sense of purpose and belonging. This is why I was totally upended when in the fall of '23, my union, the Massachusetts Teachers Association, began promoting extreme, one-sided resolutions about the war between Hamas and Israel. They falsely accused Israel of genocide without so much of acknowledging Hamas's invasion of Israel and murder of 1,200 citizens and foreign visitors. I figured the union had just made a mistake, and that if I explained it to them, they would fix it. They're laughing. So I got into my car and attended my first MTA board meeting. It was a shock for me. No one cared what I had to say. The MTA's leadership was pitching a narrative about good and evil. Information that would disrupt that narrative was not welcome. And so the leadership of my union forged ahead and adopted its troubling one-sided resolution, the first of several initiatives that demonized Israel and sometimes strayed into outright anti-Jewish prejudice. I was stunned, confused, frightened, and angry. How could my community of teachers adopt such an ill-informed and morally reprehensible resolution, which dripped with malice and anti-Semitism? How could my union place its political beliefs above the obligation of teachers to teach students how to think, not what to think? Fortunately, I was not alone. Several other teachers had, like me, shown up at the board meeting to oppose the MTA resolution. I had never met any of them, and not a single one of us had any experience in political organizing or protests. But we all realized that something troubling had just happened. Our professional union, which was supposed to represent us, had turned its back on us and on the Jewish community. Within a month, our small group formed into an organization with a name, the Massachusetts Educators Against Anti-Semitism. And we set about learning how to strategize, communicate, and effectively persuade. One of the wonderful leaders of this effort is Karen Burstein.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen. It has been more than a year since we founded MEAA. Union leadership used to ignore us, but today they're paying closer attention because we have steadily learned how to fight back. The MTA's venture into anti-Semitic and anti-Israel activism is no longer our private concern. It has been covered on the front and editorial pages of the Boston Globe, and it has been reported on by national media. The Massachusetts Special Commission on Combating Anti-Semitism held a session that vividly exposed MTA's efforts to influence its members with disparaging and sometimes anti-Semitic views of Israel and its supporters. We are no longer alone. Like Brett and nearly all of the other teachers with whom we work, I have never been an activist. But I have two parents who grew up in Israel. As a child, I spent my summers living there with relatives, and I speak fluent Hebrew. I know Israel, and I know enough to recognize when people are peddling malicious, non-factual propaganda. When I see this, I know I have a responsibility to fight back for my 3 adult children, for the children that I pray that one day they will soon have, and for the students across the Commonwealth who should be protected from what the MTA is promoting. I am a 2nd-degree black belt in karate. I have learned to fight physically, and now we have all been compelled to learn to fight politically. Fortunately, we have many wonderful allies, but none have stood by our side more faithfully, consistently, and effectively than AJC. It started a year ago with basic strategy meetings. Since, our relationship has grown and we are in constant contact, as often sometimes as 5 to 6 times a week. AJC issued 2 separate reports that I urge you to read because they help make public what is actually happening and provided a major boost for our struggle. We know that we can continue to depend on AJC's support, and we hope that we can depend on yours too. The struggles of our past are now the struggles of our time. This is our journey to freedom.